Every Security Center SaaS system is bundled with an instance of ClearID that you can use to help better manage your access control needs. Traditionally, our access control architecture was built on 3 layers. First, there's the door hardware layer. Then there's the appliance layer. And at the top is the access control server. The appliance is the bridge connecting the door hardware to the server so that we can monitor door events and push configurations into the hardware. This is a fully functional access control system. ClearID is a cloud-based, self-service physical identity and access management system that is added as the top layer. It adds intelligence and automation to the underlying access control system. What kind of functionality does ClearID add to the access control system? First and foremost, attribute-based access. This means that instead of being manually added to an access rule or access level, cardholders automatically inherit access rights based on their attributes. For example, members of the training department should have access to the training area. Managers should have access to the management area, and those with first aid training should have access to the infirmary. If and when a cardholder's attributes change, their access rights are automatically updated. The other key modules are all done through a self-service web portal. Access requests can be submitted through the web portal requesting access to additional doors or areas. The request can be routed through the employee's supervisor or area owner or both for approval. Once approved, access rights are automatically updated in the system. An access review is a detailed report listing who has access to which areas. It can be run manually or scheduled to run at a certain interval. The access review can be consulted on screen or exported to PDF format. An identity request is a request made through the portal for a new identity, or in our context, cardholder. We'll talk a little bit more about identities later. Normally, we would want our identities or cardholders imported from an external system, but there are always exceptional cases that require manual cardholder creation. And lastly, ClearID supports visitor management functionalities. We would set up a visit event in ClearID, set a date and time range for the event, define which areas the visitors might need to access, and who's the escort for the visitors. Then we'd invite visitors to the event using their email or mobile phone number as unique identifier. An email or text message is then sent to them that they can present upon check-in at the event. At the heart of ClearID's attribute-based access provisioning are identities. I mentioned earlier that you could consider an identity to be a cardholder, but in fact, identities are so much more. An identity is an individual who interacts with multiple platforms. Think of your own work environment. You probably have a Windows user profile, a payroll employee number, an access card with a specific card number, etc. While they might come from different systems, they all have one thing in common. They point to you as an individual. Collectively, they make up the identity. With ClearID, access rights are continuously updated based on predefined policies or access rules, identities or cardholders, and their attributes, traits, or properties. Here's a simplified illustration of how the various systems work together. We start with a master database of identities. Often this would be a Windows Active Directory, but it could also be a human resources database or other identity management system. ClearID imports identities from the external system. Identities are then mapped to cardholders in Security Center SaaS. The cardholder's attributes are read to determine in which cardholder group they belong and which access rules and schedules should affect them. This access logic is then pushed down to the door hardware. So let's set up ClearID's Visitor Management feature for Security Center SaaS. Here are the steps that I'm about to follow in my training system. Step 1. I want to ensure that my ClearID instance and my Security Center SaaS instance are indeed connected. Keep in mind that they are two distinct cloud platforms that don't necessarily have to be used together. In Security Center SaaS, we can find a system ID number associated to its license. We want to find that same Security Center system ID number in the ClearID portal. It can be found on the ClearID administration page. And if we look at the partitions in our Security Center SaaS configuration desktop app, we should find one called the ClearID partition. Partitions are not shown by default, so be sure to click the Show Hide Partition button. Once we've confirmed that our Security Center SaaS and ClearID instances are connected, the next step is to create a ClearID site. In the ClearID portal, click Organization, select Sites, and click the Add Site button. Note that because we might need to sync identities with more than one site, multiple sites can be created. Once the new site has been created, select its Visitor Management tab and make sure that Visitor Management is enabled for the site. Once we have our site in ClearID, we'll then create an area within that site. The area you create here will be synced or pushed to your Security Center SaaS area view configuration, so pay attention that you name the new area with something that makes sense on the Security Center SaaS side. Let's imagine in my scenario that I want to manage visitors to our training center, which is part of our larger office. We'll invite students as visitors to our company, and when they check in, we want them to have access to the training center door and the cafeteria door, but nowhere else in our office. So you can see that I've created an area here called Training Center. Once we've created the area in ClearID, we go to Security Center SaaS for validation. If you look at the areas in Security Center SaaS, we should find a new one that was created or synced from ClearID. It'll be found within the ClearID partition. So that's what ClearID is, and some of the initial steps to set it up. Now what I'm going to do in the next training video is I'll demonstrate the setup in my actual training system.